An April night on the east coast of America. Life for a young man is about to change radically. He has been selected by its members to join a secret organization that is extremely elitist. The order's initiation process is bizarre. The ritual is repeated every April and has been for the last 200 years. This secret society is based in Yale, the distinguished American university in upmarket New Haven, Connecticut. Marian Fussell has come to Yale, where many of America's elite have studied. How much truth is there in the rumors surrounding the mysterious student organization? Anyone who studies in Yale has virtually made it. But even experts puzzle over what happens in secret here.
Das ist sicher eine der zentralen Fragen. Wie schafft es diese
One major question is, how does this fraternity manage to remain so secretive? In today's media society, especially, where many people are so communicative, it's striking that so little is known about the order's practices, its rituals, and also its membership. That's most unusual and, naturally, provokes questions.
The fraternity's activities are said to be diabolical. The society's only goal, it is claimed, is absolute power. Every student would love to be asked to join because membership is the springboard to a career. Anyone who is selected receives strange instructions.
Leave the Harkness Tower tomorrow evening at the time agreed and go along the high street southwards. You must not carry metal, nor sulfur, nor glass on your person. Take the right-hand book in your left hand and knock 3 times on the holy gate. Remember what you have heard here, but be silent.
For a novice, things will soon change forever. He will become a member of a secret society at the center of the wildest conspiracy theories. Marian Fussell is familiar with many of the myths and legends. And now, Alexandra Robbins is about to reveal more to him. She herself studied in Yale. After graduating, she made a detailed investigation of the fraternity and published a book on it. It took Robbins years to find out anything about Skull and Bones. Her research was viewed with suspicion.
I talked to more than 150 members of Skull and Bones. However, more than twice that many yelled at me or harassed me or hung up on me because they do not and they are not supposed to talk about what goes on inside. I did get threats from some members of the society that made me both uncomfortable and also more intrigued. Why were they so protective of this organization?
The Brotherhood of Death, as it is known, shuts itself off completely from the outside world. Even so, information can still be obtained. The archives in Yale's University Library contain documents from the early days of Skull and Bones. The secret society is 180 years old. That much is certain. It is said to have built up a key position for itself in the U.S. power structure and established its members in party and government office, in industry, and in the Secret Service. Up until 1970, its index of members was open to public inspection, but since then, it has been kept locked away. An entire panoply of secrets, weird customs, and abstruse rituals was thought up by William Russell, the student who founded the society. Russell came from a wealthy family. In 1832, Russell studied in Germany for a year, where, it said, was initiated into a student fraternity, of which Skull and Bones was a branch. The numbers 322 are always found beneath its logo. They could be a reference to one of the fraternity's models, Athenian orator Demosthenes. His rhetoric is legendary. Demosthenes died in the year 322 BC. Alexandra Robbins knows more. She has brought Marian Fussell to an old, forbidding building on the campus of the elite university. Known as the Tomb, this is the headquarters of Skull and Bones. The interior is said to contain ghoulishly furnished assembly rooms.
The inside of the tomb is lined with skeletons and skulls. It's almost like an obsession with death. And the reason they do that is because they have this phrase in the tomb, memento mori, remember that you must die. They like to pretend that they are apart and above the rest of the world.
Skull and Bones has cultivated this self-perception right from the start. Its members rise to the very pinnacles of power, like George Walker Bush, for example. When Bush contested the presidency with Democrat John Kerry, it was a battle between two Bonesmen.
You both were members of Skull and Bones, a secret society at Yale. What does that tell us?
Not much, because it's a secret.
You were both in Skull and Bones, the secret society.
It's so secret we can't talk about it.
Only rarely do bizarre aspects of the society become public knowledge. Inside the tomb, members are said to have their own standard time, which differs from ours by 5 minutes. It's believed that cutlery, which once belonged to Adolf Hitler, is preserved here. Secret societies always create a counterworld to what they regard as imperfect reality. And they seek contact with power. They themselves strive to exercise it. Marian Fussell has come to the heart of the United States, the world superpower. For conspiracy theorists, Washington, D.C. is honeycombed with secret societies. And it is not only Bonesmen who are found in the top echelons of the U.S. government. There, Skull and Bones is said to compete with other secret societies. It was Freemasons who laid the foundation stone for the Capitol. And another fraternity is said to have infiltrated the U.S. administration in order to secretly rule the world. Conspiracy theorists claim that the New World Order is even immortalized on the Great Seal of the United States. The seal bears the words Novus Ordo Seclorum, Latin for New Order of the Ages. Those words are also found on every $1 bill. So is this secret society so powerful that it can print the symbols of its dominion on the most important banknote on our planet? Since 1862, the design of the American currency has been in the hands of the Bureau of Engraving and Printing. And in all the years since then, the appearance of the $1 bill has hardly changed. Only the security features are regularly upgraded. The United States prints 35 million banknotes every day, 5 million of which are the legendary $1 bill. Does a secret society really have its fingers in the currency pie, as the supporters of conspiracy theories claim? Marian Fussell has come to meet his colleague, Professor Robert Hieronymus, an expert in symbolism in the United States. Professor Hieronymus has made a close study of the $1 bill, which differs from every other currency in the world. It is full of strange signs and symbols.
See this blue area above the stripes? It's definitely there. He doesn't handle this fracking thing for you.
The Eye of Providence, the symbol of absolute power. "13 stars above the eagle. 13 steps are said to correspond to the hierarchy of the secret order. And last but not least, a tiny animal, an owl, the symbol of wisdom. All just pure coincidence?
Benjamin Franklin was a great teacher about educating people about our country, and he had felt very strongly that he could teach what was important about America through its currency, because everyone was handling it and would look at it, and they knew symbols.
Was Benjamin Franklin perhaps involved with the ominous secret society that uses the same symbols as a $1 bill? Does a conspiracy really exist? Or is it merely a product of the imagination of those who suspect a secret behind absolutely everything? Fussel's research has brought him into contact with an old book. In it, the historian has found a familiar symbol, the owl on the American $1 bill. The owl was once revered by a particularly secret society, a sinister order known as the Illuminati. Written in this medieval-looking font, the name Illuminati is an ambigram, a word that reads exactly the same upside down. Monstrous things are ascribed to the Illuminati, material that has been handled skillfully by successful authors like Umberto Eco and Dan Brown. But who actually were the Illuminati? They, too, had to take a vow of silence. They were forbidden to speak openly about the society's rituals and aims. Here, too, different levels of hierarchy exist. Not 3, as in the case of the Freemasons, but as many as 13. And a neophyte has to pass through them all before he can be made privy to the greatest secrets. The brethren are encouraged to spy on and denounce one another. In this way, renegades can be quickly recognized and neutralized. Allegedly structured like a counter party, the order, it's said, focuses primarily on political intrigue and subversion.
The Illuminati have long stirred people's imagination, figuring in literature, the cinema, and other media for many years. Some people even claim that the Illuminati still exist today and clandestinely control politics, business, and various other fields.
The quiet town of Ingolstadt. This is where the legend of the Illuminati ruling the world originated. In the years leading up to the French Revolution, there was also foment in rural Bavaria. It was a time of radical change. People were seeking answers to pressing social problems. In Ingolstadt, Adam Weishaupt taught ecclesiastical law and practical philosophy. He was the only secular professor. His colleagues were all priests. Frustrated with church dogma and spiritual stagnation, Weishaupt wanted to introduce change. But how? People's heads were filled with the ideas of the Enlightenment, but there was also great uncertainty as to how they might be implemented. Within a few years, an enraged mob would spill blood and even execute Louis XVI. Adam Weishaupt welcomed the first signs of change in France, but he rejected violence. What he had in mind was something different. Weishaupt wanted to undermine the state from within, and he sought to achieve this with the help of a secret society. The first people he convinced of his idea of a perfect state were his students. His vision was of a state modeled on Athens, one based on reason, a concept totally in line with the ideals of the Enlightenment.
Wie soll das funktionieren, Herr Professor? Mit Waffengewalt?
Keine Revolution. Gewalt macht nichts besser. Dem Bösen die Hände binden, regieren ohne zu beherrschen. Darauf kommt es an.
Aber das ist doch unmöglich.
Keinesfalls. Man muss um die Mächtigen der Erde her eine Legion von Männern versammeln, die unermüdlich sind, für den großen Plan, die Menschheit zu leiten.
Adam Weishaupt wanted to set up a secret government, a monstrous idea even today.
Secret societies were also a melting pot for hotheads, for revolutionaries, for people who nurtured highly unusual ideas and who could express themselves within a fraternity without having to suffer persecution. People who could also discuss and try things out, perhaps on a small scale. That was a major motive for joining a secret society.
In the troubled times that preceded the French Revolution, secret societies also flourished in Germany, and the newly founded Illuminati made full use of the situation. They set up countless lodges and attracted hundreds of new members, especially academics. Their number included Johann Wolfgang von Goethe, the most famous writer of his day, philosopher Gottfried Herder, and influential educationalist Heinrich Pestalozzi. The Illuminati were well aware of the high risk of opposing absolute rulers, but they shared Weishaupt's passionate rejection of throne and altar. Weishaupt was convinced of his idea. Above all, though, he was convinced of himself. Self-opinionated, Weishaupt was seen as narcissistic and domineering. With his fraternity, he wanted nothing less than to change the world.
Das Ziel ist es, den Staat auf einen höheren Grad der Reinheit und Vollkommenheit zu bringen.
The supreme figure amongst the Illuminati demanded absolute loyalty from his members. We know from their records how clandestinely the Illuminati operated in those days. Stored at Friedenstein Palace in Gotha, they provide valuable insights into the inner life of the order. Perhaps Marion Fussell will discover here why the Illuminati gave themselves Greek cover names and why they introduced their own time standard. Historian Hermann Schuttler has deciphered and studied encoded Illuminati documents. A domineering character, Adam Weishaupt had a weakness for the ancient Athenians and their ideas. He valued their democratic principles. That is why he chose the Athenian owl as the symbol of his order. It stood for wisdom. The Illuminati believed that they were experiencing the dawn of a new era, and they wanted to participate in this positive transition. In Ingolstadt, Weishaupt forged a plan that was simply audacious. But he was successful. He had tapped the pulse of the age.
Change in society, in the church, in the state, can only be achieved with a longer-term project. Thus, Weishaupt wanted to educate people, so his was an educational project right from the start. But it would take time. Weishaupt said that 200 years could well pass before success was achieved, before the Enlightenment triumphed.
The secret organization grew in size. In its heyday, the Illuminati had around 2,000 members, all of them high-ranking representatives of society. Weishaupt specifically poached his men from the Freemasons. Despite its rich tradition, many lodge brethren found their association dull. The new secret society was more exciting and more radical.
Wir werden den perfekten Staat erschaffen.
The lodges were run with unsparing strictness. Like in Skull and Bones, members had to lay bare their private lives, a requirement some were at odds with.
The Illuminati, it seems, were very strict and hierarchy-oriented, and many people were put off by this. Friedrich Schiller, for example, refused to join even though friends of his were Illuminati. So sometimes the society also had this off-putting effect on people. Someone with the status of a prince of poets was not going to subordinate himself to a mediocre Illuminatus. In a secret society, too, that is simply asking too much.
The bigger and more influential the organization grew, the more resistance it faced. The absolutist rulers hit back, and those in power were helped by accident. In 1785, one of the order's couriers was taking secret papers to France when he was struck by lightning and killed. On his body, the police found a list of members. Only 10 years after being founded, the Illuminati were banned. Membership now carried the death penalty. Fearing for his life, Adam Weishaupt fled from Ingolstadt to Gotha, disguised as a craftsman. But did this really mean the end of the Illuminati? If so, why do people still nurture thoughts of them? That's perhaps because before he fled, Weishaupt succeeded in achieving another major coup. He established contact with leading figures in the United States. Hermann Schuttler knows of 3 letters written to Benjamin Franklin. In them, the Illuminati asked for permission to set up a colony in Elysium, their code name for the United States. But the old Illuminati records make no mention of what reaction the request received. The letters fuel fantastic speculation time and again. What if a number of Illuminati had escaped to the New World to implement their ideas there? Would it not then have been possible for them to influence politics in the United States? And couldn't the Illuminati then also have printed their symbols on the American $1 banknote? No theory seems too abstruse. Marian Fussell has taken another close look at the $1 bill, on which the owl is portrayed, the sacred animal of the Athenians and the identification symbol of the Illuminati. Printed in Roman numerals is the year 1776, the year in which the Illuminati were officially founded. The Eye of Providence over the pyramid is a symbol which allegedly was also used by the secret society. Novus Ordo Seclorum means the new order of the ages. In other words, it clearly states the goal of the Illuminati. And why the number 13 is found everywhere? The secret society had 13 hierarchical levels.
I don't believe that secret societies have the power nor the interest to be able to rule any country on this planet. Instead, you have corporate powers, multi-billions, trillions of dollars within these corporate structures.
The stance adopted by the U.S. authorities is unambiguous. Conspiracy theories are all nonsense. The symbols, they say, have a harmless historical background and nothing to do with the Illuminati. 1776, for example, was the year when the American Declaration of Independence was written. But one thing is certain, the Illuminati are no figment of the imagination. Secret societies bear many names. For thousands of years, they have also been a part of human civilization. They operate in our midst, meeting needs which otherwise cannot be met. They are surrounded by a wall of silence, which results in secret societies themselves being the biggest enigma of all.